And this right here, y'all, is a very serious man, that we witness. And, in retrospect, years ago before I really came into this understanding, not even years ago, like a year or two ago, year. You would look at it about just all Illuminati talk, Illuminati aspect of everything. But once you understand prophecy, you start to really pay attention and see things differently. Because you will look at Michael Jackson, obviously the whole thing of like what we saw in history of Michael Jackson, and we'll look at it like, oh man, that was just a big Illuminati puppet. But it's much deeper than that. And like I said, I put this in part one, and I'm about to continue this because me and a brother been studying this for a minute now. Me and him was really going over this. Shout out to the brother, you know who you are. And great understanding I was gained into really paying attention to this, humbling myself to understand these things this way. Because Daniel 12, as it's written, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation even to do the same at that time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be written in the book of life. So when you understand this, remember in the 80s, Michael Jackson, really 70s, 80s, Michael Jackson rose up into great prominence. And remember, that was a very tough time our people went through. The whole the crack epidemic, the low economy. The projects, everything. We heard the stories and all of this, seen the stories firsthand, etc. Me personally, I wasn't born into 96, but I've heard the stories, I didn't, seen it, researched it, etc. And then coming into the time now of the great deliverance that's about to manifest. So if you remember the 80s, we had Michael Jackson, Mike Tyson, Michael Jordan, Michael J. Fox, Michael Irvin. These people were high level in their field of work. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna get deep on this whole thing with Michael because remember how he had Off the Wall. I'm gonna start it out with this. And, a lot of people technically are just looking at, Off the Wall, this is Illuminati. When you understand what he's talking about off the wall, which is very serious, is because that wall that he's building upon is talking about the Messiah, the rock, the stone, the wall. This is why understanding duality is important. Everything that Satan does is to imitate what is true and what is alive and what is living and make it live on earth so it can be dead inside. Ye shall not surely die. So you see the whole thing of the Off the Wall. What he was trying to say is, as long as we're building, our foundation on a Messiah, that we shall be able to build the kingdom. That's all Michael Jackson was saying.